Welcome to Mindful Moments. Nourish your mind on the go. Our AI narration lets you delve into the wisdom of timeless books, extracting those golden nuggets of insight. Ever feel like the way you consume information, like it's actually like shaping your thoughts?
Oh, yeah.
Not just like what you read or watch,
Right.
but like the very medium itself.
Yeah. Okay.
Buckle up.
Okay.
Because today we're cracking open Marshall McLuhan's The Medium is the Massage.
Ooh.
This book, a 1967 brainchild of McLuhan, Quentin Fiore,
Okay.
and Jerome Agel, claims it's not the content,
Okay.
but the form of communication that truly impacts us.
Interesting.
We've got images,
Okay.
excerpts,
Yeah.
even the digitally remastered edition,
Nice.
ready to dissect.
It's incredible how a book from the 60s still has such a grip on media theory today.
I know, right?
Tom Wolfe himself said he paid attention to every McLuhan insight,
Oh, wow.
no matter how wild,
Really?
because they kept being proven right. Even Brian Eno claimed McLuhan changed the world in one sentence.
And that sentence is...
The medium is the message, right?
But what does that actually mean?
Well, think about it this way.
Okay.
McLuhan argues the medium itself becomes part of the message.
Okay.
Take one of the images from the book. A car tire next to a human foot. It's visually jarring,
Okay.
but it drives home the point. The wheel is an extension of our foot.
Oh, okay.
So it's like clothing extends our skin. He even says electric circuitry is an extension of our central nervous system.
So technology isn't just a tool. It's almost like
Yeah.
integrating itself into our being.
Exactly.
That's a bit unnerving.
McLuhan is saying it shapes how we interact with the world,
Oh, wow.
even how we think
Yeah.
on a fundamental level.
Okay.
Take this image. A woman's hand with the caption, 33 million toy trucks were bought in the U.S. in 1966. Anxiety is, in great part, the result of trying to do today's job with yesterday's tools, with yesterday's concepts.
Even back then,
Yeah.
he was talking about the anxiety of rapid technological change.
Right.
Our tools evolve faster than we do.
Yeah.
And we're left scrambling to catch up. Do you ever feel that way?
Oh, all the time.
I know I do.
Yeah.
It's not just the gadgets. It's the whole way of thinking we have to shift.
McLuhan nails that feeling of being caught between eras, and he argues it's this constant adaptation, this struggle to make sense of a world in flux that breeds anxiety, something that's only amplified in our current digital age.
Right. Like we're holding on to outdated maps while the terrain is completely changing beneath our feet.
That's a good way to put it.
And speaking of changing landscapes, McLuhan dives into how these electronic media are reshaping our social structures too.
Oh, interesting.
There's this image of a lone coat rack representing the breakdown of the traditional family unit.
Oh, wow.
And right next to it,
Yeah.
a nose repeated multiple times.
Okay.
This symbolizes the shift from individual voting to mass political movements driven by media.
Interesting. So McLuhan's arguing that.
So McLuhan's arguing that instead of small, defined circles, electronic media have expanded our sense of family and community to a global scale.
So instead of like a neighborhood,
Right.
it's like the whole world.
This changes everything,
Wow.
from how families function
Yeah.
to how we engage in politics.
It's like we're all crammed into a smaller space,
Yeah,
constantly bumping into different ideas and cultures.
right.
This creates friction,
Yeah,
but also incredible opportunities for connection.
I see what you mean.
The question is,
Yeah.
are we truly connecting or just getting overwhelmed by the noise?
It's a great question,
Yeah.
especially now when we're bombarded with information 24/7.
Yeah, exactly.
Are we truly engaging or just passively absorbing? McLuhan compares the experience of print versus electronic media to a leisurely stroll versus a roller coaster.
He contrasts the linear thinking fostered by the printed word with the simultaneous multisensory experience of television.
Okay.
To illustrate this,
Okay.
the book uses a checkerboard pattern alongside a quote from John Dewey about the compartmentalization of human experience.
Interesting.
It's a visual representation of how our thinking shifts from fragmented to integrated.
So how does television, unlike print, pull in multiple senses and reshape our understanding of time and space?
Well, it's about more than just what we see. It's the sound, the immediacy,
Right.
the way it can transport us to different places in an instant.
Yeah.
The book even uses the example of President Kennedy's assassination, the way it was covered on television with its immediate multisensory impact, completely shaped how people experienced the event.
Trying to grasp such a momentous event through printed text alone would lack that same visceral impact.
Right.
The collective shock.
Exactly. It highlights how different media engage different parts of our brains, shaping not just what we know, but how we feel and connect to the world.
It's almost like certain media prime us to like feel, react, and understand in very specific ways.
Right.
But thankfully, McLuhan doesn't just leave us with this somewhat unsettling realization.
Oh, good.
He offers a glimmer of hope, too.
That's right. McLuhan emphasizes the power of awareness. He's not saying ditch all technology, but rather become more discerning, more critical of its influence. He believed we have the power to shape technology's impact rather than letting it shape us.
He even has this potent quote, "There is absolutely no inevitability as long as there is a willingness to contemplate what is happening."
It's a call to action.
Yeah.
We're not just passive recipients of media messages. We can choose to be conscious consumers, to question those messages we're receiving and understand how they're influencing us.
So instead of sleepwalking through our media consumption, we need to wake up and analyze what's happening.
Exactly. The more we understand the subtle ways media shapes our perceptions and values, the better choices we can make about how we engage with it.
But McLuhan also says media become extensions of ourselves.
Right.
The wheel extends the foot, clothing the skin, electric circuitry, the nervous system. It's like they become ingrained in our very being.
That's right.
How do we separate ourselves enough to analyze something that's practically part of us?
Well, that's the challenge, isn't it?
Right.
McLuhan argues that these extensions don't just amplify our abilities, they create new environments we constantly adapt to.
Okay.
And it's in that adaptation that we risk becoming numb to the changes around us.
So we get so caught up in using the latest gadgets or scrolling through endless feeds that we lose sight of how it's impacting us on a deeper level. We become desensitized.
Think of it like the frog in boiling water.
Oh, yeah.
If the temperature rises slowly, the frog won't even notice until it's too late.
That's a rather grim analogy.
Yeah.
But I see your point.
Right.
So how do we avoid being that frog? How do we break free from that trance?
One key, according to McLuhan, is recognizing the inherent biases of each medium.
Okay.
Print, with its linear structure, encourages logical, sequential thought. Television, with its simultaneous multisensory nature, fosters a more holistic, intuitive understanding.
So it's not about saying one is better than the other, but understanding each has its own strengths, weaknesses, and ways of massaging our minds.
Precisely. By understanding these biases, we can start to deconstruct the messages we receive. Ask ourselves, how is this medium shaping my understanding? What perspectives are missing? What assumptions am I making based on how this information is presented?
It's like taking apart a watch to understand how all the gears work together. The more we grasp those mechanics, the less likely we are to be manipulated.
And remember, McLuhan doesn't see us as just passive observers. He believed art and artists play a crucial role in helping us understand and adapt to new technologies.
He calls the artist the antenna of the race.
Exactly. Artists can reflect the ways technology shapes us, challenge our assumptions, and expand what we think is possible.
So it's not just consuming media, but creating it. Using our own voices to shape the conversation.
Exactly.
But speaking of shaping the future, McLuhan made some pretty bold predictions about where all this was headed.
And some of those predictions are eerily accurate, foreshadowing our digital age in ways that are almost unsettling.
It's almost like McLuhan had a crystal ball, seeing into our digital age decades before it arrived. What kind of predictions are we talking about?
Well, he talked about the world becoming a global village, connected by instant communication. Sound familiar? It's like he foresaw the internet, social media, our entire hyper-connected reality.
And not just the connections, but the way we experience information. He predicted a decline in traditional linear forms of communication and a rise in multisensory, immersive experiences.
Exactly. It's not just reading text on a page anymore. It's videos, podcasts like the one we're doing right now, interactive games, even virtual reality.
Oh, wow.
We're bombarded with information from all sides in every format imaginable. It's McLuhan's vision come to life.
But it's not all sunshine and roses.
It is.
McLuhan also warned about information overload long before it was a buzzword.
He argued that as we're exposed to more and more information, it becomes harder to filter the signal from the noise. We risk becoming overwhelmed, distracted, and ultimately disengaged.
I think we all feel that sometimes.
Yeah.
Constantly checking our phones, scrolling through endless feeds, drowning in notifications.
Yeah.
It can be exhausting.
And it's not just the quantity, it's the speed.
Yeah.
News cycles are 2047. Trends disappear as quickly as they appear. It's almost impossible to keep up, let alone process it all meaningfully.
McLuhan even predicted the erosion of privacy in this interconnected world. There's that striking image of a fingerprint with the caption, "You."
Wow.
A chilling reminder that in the digital age, our personal information is constantly collected, analyzed, and shared.
He argued that in a world where information is power, those who control its flow have immense influence. And that control is increasingly consolidated in the hands of a few powerful corporations and governments.
It's a bit unsettling, isn't it? Like we're living in a panopticon, constantly being watched and monitored. Not just our online activity, but our location data, shopping habits, even our facial expressions.
And the more we rely on these technologies, the more we surrender our privacy. It's a trade-off we often make unconsciously.
So does the medium as the massage paint a bleak picture of the future? Are we doomed to be slaves to technology, manipulated by those who control the information flow?
Not necessarily. McLuhan believed that by understanding media's power, we can become more conscious consumers and creators. We can choose to engage with technologies that empower us, connect us meaningfully, and expand our understanding of the world.
So instead of being swept away by the current, we can learn to navigate it.
Exactly. He challenges us to ask critical questions. What are this medium's biases? Who benefits from how this information is presented? How is this technology shaping my thoughts, feelings, and actions?
It's about reclaiming our agency, becoming active participants instead of passive consumers.
Precisely. And remember, we always have a choice. We can turn off the TV, log off social media, step away from the screen. We can choose to create our own media, tell our own stories, build our own communities.
So does the medium truly shape the message? McLuhan would say yes. But he'd also remind us we have the power to shape the medium in return. We're not powerless in the face of technological change. We have agency. And that's a message more relevant today than ever before.
Absolutely. It's a call to awareness, to critical engagement, and to harnessing the power of media for good.
Well, there you have it. Our deep dive into The Medium is the Massage by Marshall McLuhan, a book that's as relevant and thought-provoking today as it was over 50 years ago. We hope this deep dive has sparked some reflection on your own relationship with media and technology.
Remember, the more we understand this complex landscape, the more empowered we become to navigate it and shape its influence on our world.
And if this deep dive left you hungry for more mind, don't forget to share this episode with a friend who needs their mind massaged, and check out The Medium is the Massage at Link to Purchase. Until next time, stay curious.